Welcome back to A.R.T's Creative Space, where you'll see just about anything except singing. They won't let me do any singing. We have a very short video this time again, but we wanted to follow up on the last video with an additional aspect of color matching that you'll find really helpful whether you're working in furniture or in the automotive field. Now, these are the pictures sent by the customer, and we can see urethane lifting from this Lazyboy recliner arm. And it's lifting because there was tape applied to the surface. We're going to correct that. Let's get to work. So while we're going about our general cleaning here, we are reminded to never put tape on any furniture surface. It could be a laminate, like vinyl, or in this case, urethane, and removing the tape can cause a delamination, and in this case, with urethane so thin, it also tears the urethane. I've even seen aircraft leather where they've tried to put a designation on each seat using tape, and then it pulls the finish off of the leather. So the first step was the degreaser, and now comes the alcohol to follow up. And we can always do a little test and see if we're removing any color at all. Since we're refinishing, we don't mind losing a little color off the surface. I didn't suspect it was going to be that easy, though. Now, because we can't remelt urethane, any of the large loose pieces, let's just remove them so that we don't have so much trouble anchoring them back down. And based on the videos we've featured on this channel in the past, we know that we can reactivate the adhesive with heat. So the rest of this will eventually lie down. Here I am using the structural compound that I favor, and it contains 50% of the plastic powder. And as this was recorded some time ago, it was one of my very first applications of the plastic powder reinforced compound on furniture. We're trying to keep the repair minimal here, so I'm going to use a small iron and a graining paper. Graining paper can be helpful because we have an indicator, as we've mentioned before, when the paper starts to brown a little bit, it's a good indicator that we have enough heat. If we can leave the heat on there for 15 or 20 seconds and then it barely starts to brown, that's a good indicator. Of course, we never ever really do know until we lift the paper, peel it back gradually, and inspect and see what we have. You never do know. Obviously, I want to tidy up those ends a little bit. And with a clean palette knife, we get a pretty good spread. And while we're here, consumers and repair technicians alike are recognizing the low quality of the modern Lazyboy recliners based on the fact that they're using urethanes in a lot of these newer models. They seem to be selling units based on their past reputation with good leather. My, how the times have changed. Well, that's getting a little closer to the anticipated results. Time to tackle the other one. Now, it's always nice when you can iron the repair the very first time and everything comes out perfect. That's not usually the way it goes. Usually we get a pretty good look at it, and then there's some imperfections we see, maybe from a certain angle, that we want to hit one more time or two more times, which is the case here. Just to finesse it a little bit. This is in an area where everything, when we finish up, is going to be very obvious. Okay, with this initial step of the heat-cured compound, we're going to use some alcohol to clean that up and remove any plasticizer that's left on the surface, any oily-based plasticizer. In our last video, we talked about 145 brown, and what a nice rich color that is to start with. And certainly here in this application, it looks like a good starter, doesn't it? If you look at the dark print on top of the base color, you can see that it could be darkened with black or with the 140 brown. So one of those, or maybe both of them, would give us that darker print color. So that's a plan. A guide coat, of course, is always important to visualize how far your repair has come. For me, it always shows the imperfections that need to be rectified. Another aspect of the color matching process, and very rich colors, deep reds, sometimes intense yellows, and in this case, a rich brown. The dabbed or the wiped on color may not give the full intensity. I've been fooled by that before and have come to realize that once I spray the color, now it looks as intense as I was hoping for. So always bear that in mind. When you're having trouble with a color, spray it. Do a spray test before finally deciding on the color. And now that I've got a guide coat color, it's easy to see, especially from the camera angle, which I couldn't see before. I can see the need for a little bit of perfection in the repair. So let's go for that. I think this highlights in particular that the things that you expect to happen in a repair don't always go as expected, and you are learning about this substrate as you go. You learn how it reacts to the heat. You learn how it reacts to the graining. So each step in the repair process is learning more about what you're working on. Each repair requires its own critical judgment. I hope to talk more about that in an upcoming video on how important it is to have a wealth of skills in order to make these critical judgments. Each repair is different and requires different thinking. Another prep step here, but you can see how attention to detail pays off. Now, if we don't want to put that color in our gun yet to test it, why not just use a pre-val as a temporary spray, just to see how the color looks now going on wet in a spray coat. See if we're getting that depth of color that we imagined. Then you can decide to put it in your gun, or in this case, we're just going to stick with the pre-val on such a small repair. Now this is looking pretty good, but remember, we can keep adjusting and keep using the pre-val until we get the results that we wanted. I think we're going to go with this. But one of the key points of the video is that for these intense colors, the spray coat is going to be the real test of the intensity of the color. And in this instance, it was important that we bring the whole area that we prepped up to the proper intense color. Notice how the preval is leaving a bit of a texture too. That can be helpful in some scenarios. So I have made a darker version of this base color by adding some black and some dark brown. And from a distance, we are putting that on with the preval as well. From about 18 inches away, maybe even 2 feet away, just to give a smattering of that top print color. And of course, it's necessary that we dry down because it may not look any different until we dry it down, and then we see these darker spots. We've got a little spot there that we need to hide, so let's blend that darker color in spurts. There we go. That's hiding that, and in spurts to make our print. Bear in mind, all of these colors have cross-linker in them, which a lot of furniture being dyed today does not have cross-linker in it. We're going to come across with a high gloss clear coat also to match this gloss a little bit. And that'll richen the color up nicely as well. So we're moving on to the clear coat operation. A high gloss clear. I'm leaving it with a little bit of a rounded texture on purpose here. And of course, we did clean the entire arm to begin with so we can blend the clear. So there's no stopping point for the clear in the middle of the panel in this case. And one more blending clear, more highly atomized this time. Remember, your furniture may differ from this one. I'm trying to duplicate the look and feel eventually, once this dries, of the original furniture. I have the rest of the furniture to compare to get this particular finish. Now, as I mentioned, this was one of my first applications with a plastic powder, so we want to see how flexible that is, how it looks compared to the rest of the material here. Is it visible? Does it flex nicely? Is the texture the same? We also want to see that the original urethane did in fact get re-laminated. We activated the adhesive and it's working. And so I was very happy with the result, and so was the customer. Well, that's all we have for this video. I hope you found something informative in all of that. And if you have any further questions about products, please contact your supplier, because when we're finished posting here, we're moving on to the next innovation. Thank you for joining our small community, and we'll look for you next time.